Welcome back to On a Mission, where we highlight leaders who are making a big impact, both locally and worldwide. I'm Morgan Yonge, and today I'm joined by Miss Standralyn Terry.
Hi.
With Better Together.
Yes.
So will you tell me a little bit about your mission with Better Together?
I'm happy to. Thank you so much for having me. Better Together is a nonprofit, a Florida statewide nonprofit, and we are a foster care prevention program. So we work alongside families that are going through a crisis situation or maybe coming out of a crisis, but they don't have the local support, may not have support at all, but may have family that's somewhere else, but just not here local to be able to support them. And then the only options are DCF. They're really at a threat for their children being removed. It could be any type of situation, medical emergencies where there's not someone available to take safe care of the child while the parent attends to a medical crisis, homelessness, short-term incarceration. So there's a number of different scenarios that we're able to step into so that the children aren't sheltered, because it's really not a case of neglect or abuse where the Department of Children and Families should need to remove the child, but oftentimes it's the only option because there's no safe alternative. So we exist to lower the number of children and hopefully eliminate the need for foster care in the state of Florida.
How incredible and how fulfilling that mission must be.
It is.
Fulfilling yet heartbreaking, I'm sure, on a daily basis. So thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Yes. And so how did you get involved? How did you get started?
Well, I have been with Better Together for a little over a year and a half. I am a lifelong native of Jacksonville, so I have a vested interest in this community being great. I know, yes. I love it. I love my city. I love where I live, and you know, it's just a great opportunity for you to live out your faith. And it's something that I hold dear. And thank God, I was never in a situation to need that. I come from a huge family. If everything went left today, I could think of 6 or 7 second bedrooms, floors, or sofas that I could sleep on tonight. And it just breaks my heart that there are people out there who don't have that support system. So that's my why on why it's just so near and dear to my heart. And everyone has a different reason. Some folks who work with Better Together have been results of the foster care system or have had that struggle to happen, and they were like, if something like a Better Together existed during that time, things would have been different.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys have been expanding rapidly.
Yes.
Will you tell me about this expansion that you've seen?
Absolutely. So I'm the Northeast Florida Executive Director. So I cover this region, and we cover 7 counties within Northeast Florida. We've expanded recently. So we were in 4 counties, which was Duval, Clay, Nassau, and St. John's. And we've currently expanding to Flagler, Volusia, and Putnam counties. We are one of 6 regions across the Florida. So Better Together is a statewide organization. So we're one of 6 regions that span 48 counties over the state of Florida.
Amazing. That makes me very happy to hear.
Yes.
And so for those who are looking for a way to volunteer or donate, how could someone support Better Together?
Absolutely. We are volunteer driven and professionally supported. So we have a small but mighty team, but to cover 7 counties, that's a lot of land. So we need the support of volunteers in our region to take on roles such as host families, which are volunteers who open up their home on a short-term basis to the children in the family while the parents navigate their crisis with our help. They could also volunteer as a mentor, and that's just someone who helps that parent to get connected to resources, be an accountability partner, or sometimes just a prayer partner. Then there are job coaches. We host a lot of job fairs. We realize that a lot of these situations stem from unemployment or underemployment. So things could spiral quickly when there's not a stable income in the household. So being able to connect as a job coach with those job seekers is really important. And then of course, for those who may not have the time or capacity to volunteer in those ways, we have resource volunteers, and those you may volunteer at a single event or donate clothes, wipes, diapers for families who are hosting or those being served. And also, of course, financial support. We love our donors. So no amount is too small or too large. Everything makes an impact.
Beautiful. I bet it's not too large. We need all the
Absolutely.
resources.
I challenge the listeners to be the largest.
Right.
Make it too large for me.
Please, we gotta save these kiddos. We need them in
Absolutely.
good homes.
Right. And all of our volunteers are true volunteers, so they aren't paid for these things. They just really believe that this is what we should be doing in our community. So any support that we could give them, we are happy to.
Yeah, and it's kind of between them and God most of the time. You know,
Exactly.
God will put that on your heart and call you
Absolutely.
to be a volunteer.
Yes.
So, hey, may God may be calling you right now to be a volunteer with Better
Absolutely.
Together.
I always thought that hosting children was definitely not my ministry, and here I am 9 children later that I've hosted in my home.
Wow.
Quite unexpectedly, but you know, it's been so fulfilling. I think it did more for me than it did for the children, so it really is, like I said, a way for you to live out your faith and your purpose.
I love it, and may God get all the glory.
Absolutely.
I might tear up. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of On a Mission. If you want more information about Better Together, head on over to dailynewsnetwork.com and you'll find it all there. We look forward to seeing you in the next episode of On a Mission.